So this obviously is Pilates Circle of Love. So you're going to need your circle. If you don't have a circle, you can do all of the exercises without it. If we're doing any exercises with the circle and it doesn't feel good for you, then leave the circle out. Okay. Also, for today, I'm recommending that you have a mini stability ball or our 1 or 2 exercises where we're going to use the circle, but you might choose to use the stability ball instead. And then also have that block handy in case you like to use the block in your Pilates class. Okay. I'm going to show you a couple of moves we're going to do with this circle so that during class, I don't have to spend a lot of time working on showing you how to do it. So I'm going to break it down first, and they're new, so I want to make sure you know how to do them. The first one I'm going to show you is the most complicated. This is a glute exercise, and we're going to be lying on the belly, and the circle is going to go between the heel and the gluteal fold. That's where your glute, your bum cheek meets the top of your leg. Okay. So, sometimes this will depend on how long your leg is, how big your circle is. So it's going to look like this. It's right there where the bum cheek meets the top of the leg. And it's going to be a glute exercise. So I'm just going to squeeze gently with my heel. And then I'm going to think about reaching through the end of my knee and lifting my thigh a little bit and lower down. You can see how small the movement is. Just a little tiny lift there and then lower. And you'll be feeling this in your glute, I promise you. If you lift too much, then you're going to get into your low back. So you have to be really careful. Drawing your belly in, reach through the end of that knee and then lift up. And that's going to help you keep that pelvis more neutral and just open up the front of the hip joint. Okay. Is the first one. The second one is a standing exercise, and you'll only be able to see my feet here for the demo. The circle is going to go between your feet, just above your ankles. I'll show it from this side. Okay. And this is a little wider than my hips. At first, what we're going to do is we're just going to bend the knees and the ankles. We're not going to hinge the torso forward. So this is just a little ankle mobility, knee mobility exercise. This is really the way that your squat should start. Ankle, knee, and then the hip joins in. So it's kind of a sequence here. They all work together, okay? So it's going to eventually go into the squat. And you're just squeezing that circle gently enough that you feel a little inner thigh engagement. You might need to bring your feet closer together. Make sure the inner edges of your feet and the outer edges of your feet are pressing down. Okay. My feet are parallel. Then we're going to do a variation where your feet are turned out. So I'm really pressing into the circle here behind my ankle bone more. Okay. And then this is going to be knees out to the side and back up. Okay, you can sit the hips back, all the way back, or you can just do a little one and then give it a squeeze, inner thigh, outer thigh here. So you'll get here and here. Those are the 2 exercises that are pretty new. And if you don't like the circle between your ankles, you can use the ball between the ankles, or you can use the block between the ankles instead. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Lying on the back, feet flat, knees bent. You're going to let your knees just rock side to side here. Go in a range of motion that feels good for your low back. So if you get too big, you're going to arch in that low back too much. Try to keep your ribs mostly still here. So my belly's drawing in, so I don't arch in my low back too much. And then we're going to come back to the middle and we're going to do that tuck and tilt. So I want you to imagine right here on the sides of your hips, it's like a rolling pin, okay? So the handles of the rolling pin are right here. So imagine if you had your hands there, you'd be grabbing a rolling pin. And then when we exhale breath and imprint the spine or the low back, you're going to kind of turn the handles toward you and the rolling pin rolls toward you a little bit. And then you're going to come back to neutral. And then when you come into your arched back, you're kind of rolling the handles away from you a little bit. So the handles are controlling what your pelvis does. So it's a tuck and a tilt. Maybe it's like a motorcycle handle. I don't know. I never rode a motorcycle. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do that. You don't have to do the hand thing. You can just imagine it. Breathe in, breathe out. The belly draws in, the low back relaxes toward the floor. So the pelvis tucks and those handles kind of turn toward you. And then the handles turn away from you. And then your knuckles turn toward the floor as you come into that low back arch. And then you're relaxing the low back as you draw your belly in and let the low back relax toward the floor. So if that image doesn't work for you, you don't have to do that. Just think about imprint. We're going through neutral, and as far past neutral as feels comfortable for you. So the weight of my pelvis is toward my sitting bones right now. And then when I imprint, the weight of my pelvis is toward the top edge, so toward 12 o'clock. And then when I come back to my neutral, I let my ribs lift. And then 6 o'clock is more weighted on the pelvis. So if your pelvis was a clock, you'd have 12 and 6 here. Come back to neutral where you're right in between 12 and 6. Rock your knees side to side a couple times. And then find an even place between 3 and 9. Take a breath in, breathe out, press your right foot down, left leg tabletop, right foot down, left leg tabletop. All the while you're trying to maintain that evenness between 12 and 6 and 3 and 9. Now, you might not be able to do it, but see how close you can get to doing that. If you have any kind of misalignment in your spine, this will be probably nearly impossible to maintain those 4 spots equally. That's okay. What we're working for here is to try and find some balance in this core, left to right, top to bottom. Let's do one more set after this. And then we're going to relax those legs, relax that pelvis, reach the arms long by the sides, nod the chin, and curl head and shoulders up. Now, when you curl up, your back ribs press into the floor, your belly draws in, inhale, and then exhale, lower down. So we're curling head and shoulders up at the same time that upper back changes shape. And when the upper back changes shape, that causes the lower back to change shape and lower down. Curling up, lower down. Hold that space between your chin and your chest as you curl up. So if you're looking down at your pubic bone, you lost your space. Do 2 more, curling up. One more, curling up and lower down. This time we're going to get the circle and we're going to stretch those hamstrings a little bit. So you're going to place your right foot in the circle and you're going to lengthen it and bend that leg. But to notice when I bend it, my knee comes closer than a 90-degree angle, but when I lengthen it, I'm trying to come back to that 90-degree angle. If your leg doesn't straighten all the way, that's okay. If your arms aren't long enough, you can curl your head and shoulders up here as long as it feels okay for your neck. And then we're going to hold it up there on the last one. And we're going to pause here and just take a nice, gentle hamstring stretch. If you want a little more stretch, you can lengthen that other leg. So you get an opening through the front of that hip and some stretch in that hamstring. But make sure your low back didn't pop up. You're evenly weighted between your 12 and 6 here. And then bend it in. Let's switch sides. So we're going to lengthen and bend. So as you lengthen, the muscles in the front of the thigh engage, and that allows the hamstring to relax. You could, of course, do this with the other leg long. That requires a lot more hamstring length. And then lengthen it up there. Once again, if you're not feeling that stretch, you can lengthen that other leg. But make sure your ribs and your low back didn't pop up higher off the mat. Breathe in. Breathe out. One more breath. And then we're going to lower that leg down. This time, we're going to take that circle and we're going to place it between the heel and the back of the leg. Now you kind of have to find the right angle here so that the handle of the circle is pressing into your back of your thigh. If you can't figure this out, once again, you can use that ball. That's why I said make sure you have your ball handy, okay? All right, so we're going to try and keep that circle still. We're going to lower that leg down and then keep squeezing that circle, bring it back up. So we're going to lower that leg down, see if you can get that glute to engage, and then exhale, use your core to bring that leg back up. We're going to do 4 more. Lower it down, bring it back up. Now, when I lower it down, I'm feeling a clunk, clunk. So I'm just going to tuck my tail a little bit, and that takes the clunk, clunk away. And it helps me connect to my core more. 1 more. And then we're going to switch sides. I know this is the hardest part, getting the circle on there. So put it on your thigh first and then capture it with your heel. That will be easier. And then we're going to lower it down. If it bumps into your other leg, move your other leg out of the way. Try to have equal weight on your pelvis. 3 and 9, 12 and 6. So on this side, I'm having a little harder time holding on to it. My glute isn't engaging quite as much. So I'm going to squeeze a little more here on the way down and bring it back up. 2 more. Last one. And bring it back up. Go ahead and rock your knees side to side. Come on over onto your belly. Go ahead and move the circle out of the way. We'll do our breaststroke prep here, or our baby swan, lifting the chest, lowering the chest. You can start by just lifting the head and then add in lifting the chest. Really reach those legs long. Imagine your pubic bone and your tailbone staying parallel to each other on the mat as you lift your chest. Lift and lower. Do 3 more. Lift, collarbones wide, lower. So we're just kind of flowing in and out of this in a range of motion that feels good for you. Rest your forehead on your hands. Wiggle your bum side to side. And then we're going to come to all fours. All right, let's do a little cat and cow. Inhaling, move in a range of motion that feels good for you. Remember, when you come into your cat, you're pressing both hands equally into the floor, letting those shoulder blades spread away from each other. Draw that belly up, let your glutes relax a little bit. And then when you inhale, you're letting the low back engage, the muscles in the upper back engage. One more time, and then we're going to come to a neutral spine here. And then we're going to tuck the toes. And we're going to really press the bottom of the toes into the floor. So you can rock back and forth, really find the bottom of the toes pressing into the floor. Draw your belly in and up, and then lift your knees, coming into that little lift with your spine nice and neutral, and lower down. 3 more. Lift and lower. And belly draws up, lift. So you're not tucking and you're not sticking your butt out. You're right in between. Lower. For most of us, neutral will feel like sticking your butt out. One more time. Keep those shoulder blades wide. Keep those collarbones wide. And lower down. Take your child's pose. And here's where we're going to move to doing those little squats, okay? So grab your circle and come on to standing. All right, so that circle is going to come between your feet, just above your ankles. If you try a couple of these and it doesn't feel right for you, you can use the ball or the block, okay? So at first, we're just going to bend at the ankle and the knee. We're going to keep that spine nice and tall. So get those ankle joints moving. As you do this, think about your heels going back. as you come into this little mini squat. Think about your tailbone dropping straight down and your heel bones going back. Good, don't let the circle push your feet out, okay? So squeeze that circle in so you're grounded through those inner feet. Now, if you want to add to it, you can take that into a full squat, squeezing that circle. Let's do 10 of these. Whatever variation works for you. I'm giving that circle a little squeeze, especially on the way back up. Drawing that belly in and up. I'm going to do 3 more. Keep squeezing that circle. Keep that inner edge of that foot pressing down. 1 more. And then come on up. Reach your arms up. Bend your knees a bunch. Round down. And then we're going to hold on to the circle as you turn your feet out. Make sure the circle is in there firmly still. And then draw your belly in and roll back up. And we're going to start with a little baby squat. So your knees angle over your second toe. Now on this one, you can't use the ball or the block. If you're not using the circle, just use nothing. Just do your sumo squat here. And you can add to it by going down a little further. Keeping the inner edge of the foot down and then really squeezing that circle on the way back up. Imagine you're zipping up a zipper here. Shh. You're letting it go. Shh. So let the pelvic floor go. Let the sitting bones spread away from each other. Shh. And then they come toward each other. Shh. 1 more. Shh. And then we're going to reach the arms up and then bend the knees a bunch, round down. Grab that circle with your hands and come on back up. We're going to bring that circle onto the side. Now, depending on how long your arm is, that's where the circle is going to fall, on your side, on your hip, on your leg, on your waist. We're going to do a little side bend here. So we're going to reach. I have my circle on the right side. Before I even do my side bend, I'm going to draw my shoulder blade down and in and press into the circle a little bit. See if I can get that place right behind my armpit to engage a little bit. So keep your shoulder open. Don't let it round forward when you do this. Let's try it a couple more times. It's a little movement. This time we're going to reach the arm up, press into the circle, and then we're going to side bend over, pressing the circle into the leg and the leg into the circle, and then come on back up. Couple more times, side bend. 1 more time. And then we'll go to the other side. We'll practice that engaging behind the armpits. So it's right back here where the bottom tip of your shoulder blade is. So when you press into the circle, it draws down and in. You're keeping the front of the shoulder nice and open. So do a couple more. And then we're going to reach the arm up and we're going to side bend. And we're going to come back up. So you're pressing the hip into the circle and the circle into the hip. The shoulder stays away from the ear. 1 more time. And then come on back up. Bring that circle out in front of you with your elbows out to the side. Hold it with a fist like this. And then you're going to squeeze the circle and then release it. We're going to do that 10 times. Squeeze it and release. So you'll feel the work in the front of the chest. Keep moving. Squeeze and release. Make sure you're not feeling this in your neck. So the shoulder blades are drawing down and in still. The bottom tip of that shoulder blade. Shh, belly draws in. Shh, belly draws in. Shh. 1 more time. This time we're going to pull out on the circle. So let's reach the arms out, and as you pull the circle in, pull out on it. Now you feel the work back here instead, okay? So reach the circle out and then pull it in, pull on the circle. Now my circle isn't actually changing shape, but I'm definitely feeling some work behind those armpits. Reach, pull, reach, Hold. 4 more. Looking straight forward. Staying in your neutral spine. 1 more. And then release it down. This time we're going to reach the arms up and lower down. Reach it up, lower down. We're going to do this 10 times. Now, if this is too much for your shoulders, the circle's too narrow, leave the circle out, reach up. If it feels okay for you, give that circle a little squeeze when you reach up. It's just about 10% here. Reach it up. Make sure when you reach those arms up, you're keeping your belly drawing in. Reach up. 3 more. Reach up. 2 more. Belly in. 1 more. And then lower it down. Take a break, shake out those shoulders for a moment, and then we're going to do that tricep press, okay? So the circle's going to come behind you. We did this last week. I'm going to bend my knees and I'm going to sit back just a little bit. So it's a little mini tiny squat, mini tiny, okay? And then I'm going to press into that circle to really focus on getting my upper arms to engage right here, okay? The most important thing is you're keeping your shoulders wide. It's like 10% press and release. You can hold with a fist or hold with your hand open. Press. I like to think of pressing with the pinky side of my hand more than the thumb side, and that will help me keep my shoulders open. Press, press, press. Let's do 4 more. It's 10 or 15%. Belly in. Shh. 2 more. Shh. Last one. Shh. And then relax it. Shake out those shoulders and come on down onto your mat. Okay, we're back down on our mat here. We're going to come on down onto the back. And we're going to do our abdominal series. We're going to reach those arms up into the air. First, we'll do some shoulder glides. So we're going to reach those arms up a little further. Imagine those shoulder blades coming away from your spine, and then let the shoulder blades drop back down toward the spine. Reach it up. I'm not squeezing the circle, I'm just holding it, and down. So the circle is above my chest, not above my head. If it's above your head, this is going to be a lot harder to glide those shoulder blades and keep your ribs down. Do 2 more. Reach it up and down and up and down. Now we're going to find that circle in a neutral position. And we're going to exhale breath, one leg to tabletop and then the other. If this is too much for you, you can have your arms on the floor. Take a breath in, breathe out, right leg lengthens, left leg comes in, and then switch, and then switch, and switch, and switch. Now you have the option here. We're going to do about 4 more sets. You can curl head and shoulders up, reach that circle on a diagonal over the knees. Shh. Shh. Shoulders away from the ears. Shh. 1 more set. Shh. Shh. And then stay curled up. Breathe in here. Breathe out. Reach the arms and legs up. Scoop that belly and then bring it back down. Reach. Bring it back down. Reach. Bring it down. Now, you can reach on that diagonal if you want, as long as that feels okay for your shoulders. I'm just holding the circle. I'm not pressing it here. Shh. 2 more. Shh. 1 more. Shh. And then come on back in, lower down for a moment. Then we're going to do our scissors here. Take your right foot, place it in the circle, and lengthen that leg into the air. So it's not really a scissor, it's a half a scissor. We're going to shoot that other leg out. Now try to have your pelvis as neutral as possible. So 12 and 6 equally weighted, 3 and 9 equally weighted here. And we're going to lift that leg up and lower it down. Lift it and lower it. Scoop and lift. Lower, collarbones wide, scoop and lift. Belly draws in even when the leg goes down and draws in even more when the leg comes back up. Let's do 2 more. One more. And then we're going to bring the circle above the chest. And we're going to let that leg lower. The other leg comes toward you. And then we're going to bring that leg back up. Let it lower. The other leg comes toward you. Bring it back up. You might need to move the circle closer to your leg. 2 more. Last one. And then we're going to place the circle on the other foot. It's okay if your leg's not straight here, by the way. Elbows angle out to the sides and down toward your hips a little bit to keep your collarbones wide. The other leg lengthens on that diagonal. And we're going to scoop it and bring it back up. Inhale, keep that belly in, and then scoop that belly even more to bring it back up. Do 4 more. Scoop that belly. 3 more. Shoulder blades glide down on the back. Toward your back pockets. 1 more. And then bring it back up. Hold that circle between your hands. The leg goes down and then they both come back up. Down. Once again, it's okay if you bend your knee here. One more. And then bring it in. Rock your hips side to side. Now we're going to place those feet down. And we're going to do a little bridge here. You're going to take your circle and capture your shins with the circle. Collarbones wide. If you can't reach here, you can place the ball between your knees with the block if this doesn't feel good for you. Now we're going to practice just lifting a tiny bit and pressing the shins into the circle. And then release it. So you're creating a little resistance with your arms and you're pressing with your shins the same amount. Lift just a tiny bit, lower. 2 more times. Lift. I'm lifting about 2 inches. Trying not to tuck my tail. Lift. This time, if it feels okay for you, you can come up into your full bridge. I have to come to my fingertips on this circle here and then lower back down. Now, instead of pressing the shins into the circle, you can press out into the circle instead and come up into your bridge. Whichever one feels better for you. Reach. I like pressing out. But I'm pressing my shins into the circle at the same time. Reach it up, lower it down. Let's do 4 more of these. You can lift and lower, or you can roll up and roll down. Equal weight on both feet. Inside edge, outside edge. 2 more. 1 more. And lower all the way down. Go ahead and take a break there. You can windshield wiper the legs if you feel like you need it. And then we're going to take that circle and we're going to place it between the ankles. And we're going to do a little inner thigh work here. For those of you who came to melt with me, I promised you inner thigh work. All right, so I'm pressing into that circle just enough so that it doesn't fall out. And then I'm going to lengthen my legs and give it a little squeeze. And then I'm going to bend my legs. Lengthen. So I'm going for a position with my legs where I can have equal weight, 6 and 12, 3 and 9 here. So when your knees bend, you don't shift your weight into your 12 and lose your 6. Let's do 5 more. Squeeze it and then lower it. Squeeze it. Imagine you're squeezing from your inner thighs, not your feet. 3 more. Shh. 2 more. Belly scoots. Shh. 1 more. Shh. We're going to leave the legs up there. You can have the knees bent here, still squeeze your circle, whatever version you want. Bring the hands behind the head. Remember, the obliques are connected to the inner thighs. Curl head and shoulders up. Shh. Rotate to the right, give that circle a little squeeze, come back to the middle. Rotate to the left, give that circle a little squeeze, come back to the middle. Notice maybe when you rotate, your opposite leg wants to squeeze the circle more. Shh. This is very functional. Your opposite side, inner thigh, works with your oblique. Shh. Do 3 more to each side. Keep that space between your chin and your chest. We're just rotating here. We're not side bending. Shh. 1 more time. And lower down. Go ahead and take that circle out. Don't throw it. Just let it rest on your belly. If it feels okay for you, bring the soles of your feet together with your knees apart. Make sure you still have equal weight on 3 and 9 here. Breathe in, breathe out. 1 more breath in. 1 more breath out. And then bring those legs back up. We're going to come on over onto our belly. We're going to do a quad stretch, and then we're going to do that glute exercise I showed you in the beginning. So we're going to come on over. We're going to rest the forehead on the left hand, or you can place it on a sponge or something instead if you want. If that feels better for your shoulder, bend your right knee, reach around for the top of your right foot. Now, if you can't reach it, pro tip, use your circle. Yes. Okay, that's a little long for me, so that doesn't work. All right, now the collarbone's nice and wide. You're thinking about reach through the end of that knee and then draw that foot in a little closer. Release it a little bit, reach through the end of that knee and then draw it in a little closer. Imagine reaching through the end of the knee is lengthening that quad, those muscles in the front of your thigh, like taffy. Release it a little bit, lengthen through the front of the knee, and then draw it in. 1 more time, and then we'll hold it there. Reach through the end of the knee like that tissue is lengthening like taffy from your hip to your knee, and then draw it in and relax there. Equal weight on 3 and 9 here on the front of your pelvis. Release it. We'll do the other side. All right. So for me, this quad is tighter. You'll have one side that's tighter than the other probably. Let your shoulder open up. Don't let it round toward the floor. And then we're going to reach to the end of the knee and then draw the foot in. Just like we did before, maybe 5 more times. Relax it a little bit. Reach through the knee. Imagine that tissue lengthening like taffy from your hip to your knee, and then draw the foot in. So we're trying to relax it first, reach it, relax it, and then stretch it. Do that 2 more times. Reach it, relax it, and then stretch it. 1 more time. Equal weight on the front of the pelvis on 3 and 9 here. Make sure you didn't lean over to the other side. Let that shoulder open up. And then release it down. Wiggle your bum side to side here. Let your thigh flesh drag from left to right. And then we're going to go with that glute exercise. This is the one where we're going to take the circle between the ankle and the glute. Okay, so find that place. I won't tell anyone you did. Between where your glute and the top of your leg meet. If this is too awkward for you, you can use the ball back there instead, okay? All right, now before we do anything else, we're gonna give that circle a little squeeze. Feel your hamstring engage, feel your glute engage, just a little squeeze. It's like 10% here. Relax your shoulders. Give it a little squeeze. All right, this time we're gonna give it a little squeeze, reach through the end of the knee, and then think about lifting that thigh and lower it down. Give it a little squeeze, reach through the end of the knee, lift it. And you're gonna do that 6 more times. Squeeze, reach, lift. Equal weight, both sides of the pelvis, left and right. Keep reminding yourself. Once I have more equal weight, then I can lift that thigh a little bit more. I can relax a little bit more. Squeeze it, then reach and lift. One more time. Squeeze it, keep your belly up a little. And then release it. All right, who found their hamstring and their glute? Thumbs up, anybody? All right, Ashton's like, don't talk to me. All right, too bad we are bipeds. We have one other side, okay? Or good news for you, we're only bipeds. All right, so you're finding that place. So for me, I have to pay a little more attention on this side. This glute doesn't engage the same. Relax your shoulders. Just a couple times, squeeze it. Get that hamstring to engage. Squeeze it. Squeeze it. And then we're going to move on. So you're going to squeeze it a little bit. Draw the belly up. Reach through the end of the knee and then think about lifting that thigh. It might just be an idea. That'll be enough to get that glute to engage. And then release it. Squeeze it with the heel. Reach the knee and then lift. And you're going to do 6 more. Equal weight, both hips. Belly up. If your quad is really tight, you might be feeling this in your quad. One more time, belly up. And then lower it down. Let's wiggle that thumb side to side. Move the circle out of the way. All right, and then we're going to come on up to seated for some spine twist. I'm going to sit on a block today because I did a big long run yesterday on my treadmill and my hamstrings are tight. So whatever seated position feels best for you. It can be crisscross, your legs can be out front, whatever feels good for you. All right, we're going to start by reaching that circle out and then bringing it back in. We're going to do that 5 times. Reach it out, bring it back in. Remember, when you reach it out, those shoulder blades come away from each other. And when you draw it in, the shoulder blades come toward each other. One more time. This time we're going to reach it out. We're going to rotate and then we're going to draw it in and give it a squeeze and then reach it out and come back to the center. Rotate, draw it in, give it a squeeze and then reach it out, come back to the center. This time we're going to rotate, draw it in, give it a pull. Reach it out, come back to the middle, rotate, pull. So we're going to alternate. 1 set squeeze, front of the chest, and 1 set pull, upper back. Rotate, pull, upper back, right where the armpits are. Your elbows widen and angle down. Rotate, pull. Let's do 1 more set of each. Rotate, squeeze. Rotate, pull, collarbones widen. This time we're going to rotate and we're going to rotate to the right, reach the arm back with a circle in the right arm, and then we're going to come back to the middle. Rotate to the left, reach the left arm behind you, circle in that left arm, come back to the middle. Make sure you're rotating, not just reaching your arm. You're doing both, rotate. So adding in this arm work is distracting me from my obliques working. So we're going to do some of this without the circle. So go ahead and drop the circle down, reach your arms out to the side. Let's do palms up, rotate. Really focus on your obliques now, rotate, rotate. Relax your shoulders, focus on your obliques, those abdominal muscles on the sides. Do one more set after this. And then relax your arms down. Shake out those shoulders. Come on off your block. And we're going to go ahead and come to our rolling like a ball position. You have a couple options here. If you have the ball, you can place the ball between your knees or your ankles, or you can use the circle. Okay, I'm going to take the circle between my ankles. Sit up nice and tall. Draw the belly in, roll behind your sitting bones. Now you really need to use your core. Don't let your belly pop forward and then let your feet float up. Round your upper spine, coming into your ball shape. Breathe in, breathe out. Now you can give that little circle squeeze when you breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Shh. Imagine squeezing the circle will help you engage your core. Breathe out. Shh. So each time you squeeze the circle, draw the belly back, press the ribs behind you. One more. And then place those feet down. Go ahead and take that stretch for your inner thighs. Let your heels come, your feet come together. Let your knees go out to the sides. You can rock side to side here. So if this doesn't feel good for you, this butterfly position, you can lengthen your legs out. This will get you that inner thigh stretch as well. Try to keep your spine as neutral as you can, the back of your head in line with your upper back, regardless of which one of these you're doing. We don't want to let that head just drop down. Come on back and let's come on over onto the side. As promised, a little more inner thigh work. So we're going to take that circle and we're going to place it between the ankles. Now, it might be easier for you to do this before you lay down. I might have to do that. All right, there we go. Nice long line. Your pelvis is neutral. So imagine your 12 and 6, your 3 and 9 are in the same plane here. Hand on the floor. Now we're going to press down with that top leg into the circle and then release it. Now imagine you're pressing from your inner thigh, not your foot, because this will aggravate your knee possibly. If you think about pushing from your foot, hips stay stacked, press down and release it. 2 more times, press down. Betsy, relax your spine down so you can have your spine neutral there. Yeah, it's nicer for your neck too. Press down. One more. Press down. Now squeeze down into that circle and at the same time, lift the bottom leg up a little and then lower down. So now you get the bottom leg active. Press down into that circle a little bit. And then you're going to lift that bottom leg up. It's a tiny lift. You're trying not to move the hips. You're just trying to move the legs. Belly in, press down, lift it up. 2 more. Remember, you're pressing from that inner thigh, not the foot. 1 more time. And lower it down. This time we're going to take that circle and we're going to place it on the outsides of the feet. So just above the ankle bone on the outsides of the feet. Once again, you might need to sit up to do this. And once again, you're thinking about pressing from this upper leg, not the foot. So if you want to, you can take that circle and place it above your knee instead. I'll show that variation. That might work better for you. There we go. All right, now your hips are stacked and you're thinking about pressing from right here and press up into that circle. It's like you have that mini loop band here. Press up into that circle. It's a little press and lower. I'm barely changing the shape of the circle here. And I'm focusing on pressing from the side hip. Press. Keep that belly in. Press. Try to keep the hips stacked. One more time. Press. This time we're going to externally rotate the leg. Press. Holy moly. Press. 3 more. Owie, owie. 2 more. Press. Last one. Shoo, I really found that side back hip. All right, let's go to the other side. Once again, you might want to put that circle in before you lay down. One long line with your body, if that feels okay for you, that's more ideal. So already my top leg is shaking. This inner thigh doesn't like to work as much. Okay, so I'm going to press down. I'm thinking about pressing from my inner thigh here, not from my foot. So my foot is relaxed. Press down. Make sure your leg is parallel. You're not internally rotating it or externally rotating it. So think about this inner thigh all the way up toward the pubic bone from the knee. Draw the belly in and up. One more. Now we're going to press down into the circle and we're going to press up into the circle with that bottom leg and lift it and lower it down. Keep the hips stacked. Press down a little bit with the top leg and then press up with the bottom leg. It's a little tiny lift. We'll do 3 more of those. Down and then lift it up. 2 more down and lift it up. 1 more down and lift it up. Keep your hips stacked and then lower down. Bend your knees, place that circle on the outsides of your ankles. This is the hardest part. Getting the circle in the right place. Try to have those legs in line with your hips and your shoulders. And remember, you're pressing from here. So the circle can be either at the ankles, or I really liked it above the knee, just above the knee, just like you would put a loop band. Really focus on keeping those hips stacked because here your leg is more lifted with the circle higher, okay? So we're going to press up into that circle and lower it down. Now, of course, your bottom leg is anchoring it. Press up, keep your leg parallel. Good, really focus on moving from the side hip. Press up. Press up, so it's a small movement. We don't want to move the hip here. 2 more, relax your foot and your knee. 1 more. All right, now we're going to have a brain cramp because I can't remember when I did that. All right, so let's do little pulses. So we're going to lift, lift, lift. I know this isn't what we did on the other side, but it feels good. And relax it. External rotation there. Now my brain's working. All right, so external rotation. Now this is your side back glute, not your side hip. Lift, lower, lift, lower, lift. If you're feeling this in your knee, let your knee bend slightly. Lift, lower, 3 more, lift. Wow, I'm really feeling that back here. Slight bend in my knee, lift. 2 more, lift, lift. Oh, and lower it down. Just relax those legs. Give it a little love. Now we're going to come over onto the back and do a bridge. Now, this is going to be the best bridge ever because we just got a lot of really great hip stabilization. This is the power of suggestion. All right, inner edge, outer edge of the feet. If you like the block in there, go ahead and do that. Breathe in, breathe out, lift up. Holy moly, and lower down. Lift up. Lower down. Once again, if you want to roll up and roll down, you can do that version. Lift. Good. So as I lift up, my sitting bones are reaching toward the backs of my knees. Lower down. If you're doing the lift and lower variation, your low back curve does not touch the mat. Your lower ribs and your pelvis hit at the same time. Lift and lower. Let's do 3 more. Lift and lower. Isn't this the best bridge ever? 2 more lifts. Lower. 1 more lift. And lower. Go ahead and rock those knees side to side, left and right. If you want, you can take a little figure 4 here. I'll give you a minute to do whatever stretches you feel like you need. You got about 20 more seconds for those stretches, whatever you need. And then come on up to all fours, and we're going to do our push-up variation. So last week, if you were here, you might remember I showed you a variation of the push-up with a circle in the center of the chest, right here on the sternum. That's your breastbone right here in the middle, okay? So you need to find where your happy place is for the circle. So my circle, my arms are a little too long for my circle, so I have to bend my elbows to get any kind of pressure onto my circle. If you don't have really long arms, you probably don't have to do that. Now, you can do, let's start with all fours. Elbows angle back, lowering down, collarbones widen, and pressing up. Good, keep your belly drawing up. Don't let your belly sag like I did. The back of your head is in line with your upper back, and it presses into the air the whole time. All right, so that's the all fours variation. You can do a variation where your knees are slightly further back, a modified push-up. Let's try a couple of those. Elbow creases angle forward, collarbones widen, and then you're going to lower down and press up. So the circle prevents you from going down too low, and it really helps you keep that arch out of your low back. Press equally with all 10 fingers, both hands. One more time. Equally, both hands. And then you can turn this into your full push-up if you like. I'll show that variation. Do whichever variation you like. Press equally, both hands. Shh. Collarbones are wide as you go down. Shh. Do 2 more. Shh. Tricep push-up. Triceps work. Shh. And then take your break. You might not feel like you need a child's pose. You might feel like you need your arms to relax a little bit. Maybe do some swimming with those arms. Go back so you get the front of the shoulder opened up. Maybe swing them a little bit. And then we're going to come to seated. Let's stretch out those triceps that we just worked so hard. You have two options. The first one is bring your hands up into the air forward a little bit, like you're making a TP with your arms, and then bring your hands behind your head. The back of your head presses into your arms. Your spine is nice and tall here. You're right on top of your sitting bones. Now, if this feels really awkward for you, it doesn't feel good for your shoulders, your other option is to do one arm at a time. So reach one arm up into the air, bend the elbow, let the hand drop down toward the back of the shoulder, and then you can bring the other hand onto the elbow, drawing it back until you feel that little stretch. I like this one better. Shoulder away from the ear. Make sure you're not pressing your head forward. I'm going to switch arms. Remember the stretch later when your triceps are sore, okay? You might want to use this stretch later. And then go ahead and shake out your arms. And we'll do a little side bending, side to side, nice dynamic side bending. Remember, in a side bend, we're trying to mostly just side bend, not rotate. You will rotate a little bit. The next time you side bend over to the right, go ahead and stay there. Nice static stretch. You can let the arm relax onto the head. If this is too much for your shoulder, you can just place the hand on the fingertips on the shoulder. Maybe look down toward the floor. That might feel nicer for your neck. Reach the arm up, come back up, go to the other side. So my left shoulder is really stressed out. I really needed this option on the other side, but I don't really need it on this side. Once again, if your neck is stressed out, maybe turning your head toward the floor might solve that. Come on back up, reach both arms up, press your palms together, press your bum into the floor, and then rotate your palms and press your arms down like you're pushing down into water. One more time, breathe in, nice big breath in, all the way down toward your belly, and then breathe out, drawing that belly in and up. Thank you for joining me today for Pilates Circle of Love. Incredible work, everyone. I know the circle sometimes makes things a lot more challenging, but sometimes it helps you access the exercises a little better.